We'll get into these are like the drawing tools that are inside of IQ Designer, and we'll explore those later on in the course. But next I'm going to do this. I want to describe, this is a really cool thing here. I'm going to make a heart. Okay. And what I want to do, I want to change this black thread color for my fill stitch. So see here where it has this little spool. If I click on that, my last thread chart I had open was the isochord. I'm just going to turn it red. And I could change the color of the outline stitch the same way if I wanted to, but I'm going to leave that there. Now I'm just going to kind of move it down towards the center, off to the side a little bit. Okay. And I'm going to go back to my home tab. And I'm going to click off to the edge. And I want to add, maybe I want to add a star to this design. Okay. So I'm going to make me a star. And I'm going to change that fill stitch to a different color, just so we could see it easy. Make the star green. Now, if I stitch this out as is, guess what? The first thing it's going to do is stitch down all the red. Then it's going to stitch down the outline around the heart. Then it's going to stitch the green on the top of all of that. And then it's going to stitch the outline on the top of that. We don't want that. Why would you want to waste that thread or it'd make an unsightly bulge here, and some of the red would absolutely probably peek through the green. That is called an overlap. And the way to remove an overlap is this. First, I'm going to click out here and get rid of anything being selected. I want to select all of this. And once I have everything selected, notice over here to the left in sewing order, everything is selected. I can now click on modify overlap. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on remove overlap. Okay. Now, if we look over here, notice that heart has part of it missing. The heart outline has part of it missing. And the star is whole, the shapes are. So what it did, it actually cut out underneath this part of the star anything that was from my heart design, which is evidenced over here in number 1 and number 2. That's a very powerful tool because I can even do it another time. Check this out. Maybe I want to add a third shape into this. Let's put in, maybe I want a gingerbread man. Okay. And maybe, where do I want him at? He is going to overlap everything. I'm going to put him right here in the center of this heart, just because I can. But I'm going to change him to a different color, that fill stitch. He is going to be something that will really show up well on that, maybe purple. No, he's going to be a blue gingerbread man. There we go. We can see that. And now what I'm going to do, now check it out here. He is overlapping both the red and the green. So I'm going to highlight, drag a box around everything to select it all. And then I'm going to go back to modify overlap and click remove overlap again. And guess what happens? Look at number 1 now. It's taken even more out of the number 1. 3 and 4 have one of the tips shoot off of it. And I'm left with the whole design for 5 and 6. So you can keep adding shapes and removing that overlap as many times as you want to, as long as you make sure You can only do one shape at a time, though. You can't put a bunch on there and remove them at once. You have to do it step by step by step. Let's pull up a different design. Design library. Go to miscellaneous. And we are going to select, what are we going to select here? This would be a good example. We're going to select that little chef dude. He's already centered because I did the import thing. So what I'm going to do, I've got him selected, and so we've done the arrange, the size, and the group. See this where it says rotate and flip? So we can rotate and flip. This is how you would rotate and flip any pattern you bring into palette. Rotate it right. We'll just click on that. And what's rotate means, it's like looking at a compass style. And he just rotated it. It just brought him down over and rotated him to the right. So rotate left, brought it back to normal. If you just click on the rotate button, now you can actually use your cursor or just put in a degree that you actually want him rotated to. Okay, if you put it at 0, that will bring him back to his original position. Okay, let's cancel that. Then you can also flip horizontally and vertically. So there's that one, the vertical, horizontal. Then we'll get him back upright. So doing horizontal there, you can see you can change the direction that they're facing. 101 uses for that right there when you're designing. Or if you're just bringing a design and you want to flip it the other way so it's pointing in a different direction. Let me find a different pattern for what I'm going to describe next.
Richard, could you cut a word in half?
Absolutely, yes. Anything. You can actually, so it doesn't matter whether it's a word or
any of the alphabet,
any design, you can cut it in half, in thirds, whatever you might want to do.
So you could just separate it and keep everything, though, not delete it.
Absolutely, yes. For
Okay,
instance, let's see here. Start new. No. And we'll just resize that up until it's bigger. 5, preview. Here we go. And okay. Now when a little stitches tab appears, that's where you can split. Click on split.
Stitches clip.
And then I'm going to click one time here and just bring it over to the other side. Click it again and then double click. Oops. That's right. You do have to totally outline it. So by outline, I mean click once, click twice. You just have to encircle the shape that you want to split. Now I'll double click. You can see over here it's in 2 halves. So now if I just move this up, I just split it in half, and I could add text in here if I wanted to.
Okay.
In the same token, if I get rid of this, I'm not going to change save anything. I'm going to go up here and pull up this little text menu. And once I have text selected, here's your drop down. There's all your all the different fonts built into palette. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to select, I don't care which one. This is just, and then I have my little text cursor now. I'm going to left click one time, and it'll automatically put it over here into text attributes. This is where you're going to type at. And I'm just going to put in my name. Okay, hit the enter key. And then I'm going to drag it and make it bigger just so I can see it. Okay. And then if I convert it to stitches, see over here, it's
okay.
text right here, convert to stitches, click on that. And then under the stitch menu, you can split it. Click, 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 double click. And now I can split that name in half, pull it up if I wanted to. So remember, this is to get it into that, to convert it to stitches is so that you can change the color of it or split or cut out parts. When you convert it back into blocks, I want to make sure I'm going to select everything. And then I'm going to come here and convert to blocks again and just click on OK. And what that does, that allows me to change some of the stitches. It won't do it in a font. However, you see these are blank up here. And well, it's a not sewn line. Normally, when you're in shapes and other designs, this is where you can select different fill patterns or outline shapes. But on a font, you don't have outlines on this particular font around that. And that's why none of these were able to be selected. Just for giggles, we're just going to select the chain stitch and see what happens, see what it does. And what it did, it put a chain stitch around the edge of that entire font. So I'm going to go back to home and I'm going to enlarge this so you can see that. But see what it did. It now stitched down a chain stitch all the way around the edge of the satin of the lettering. So it's a different way to get different effects depending what you're trying to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Great question. Okay, so I'm going to clear that one out. Select no. So I want to talk about something under the view menu next. So there's home, image, and view. When you select something, sometimes a fourth tab will appear, such as stitches or shapes or text. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull in a shape now. And I'm going to go back to home and enlarge it, size. I'm just going to make sure both of these are checked. I'm going to put 400 there. That should enlarge it 4 times. That's good enough. And click on OK. And now I'm going to go back over here to my view screen. It's something very important to remember is that these 3 icons right here. So this is realistic view. If I turn it to stitch view, didn't really change it a lot. If you put it on solid view, this was a great design to do this with. But let's say, for instance, I go to the home, my home screen, do an arrange copy, do a 4-way mirror, and then go to view, realistic. There we go. And then go to stitch. When I went to the actual stitch menu, see all these lines here? It's not going to stitch those lines out. Those are not jump stitches. What that is showing the progression from going between the 4 designs for the 4 different colors. That's all that is. So if you ever have it on stitch and on solid, they're not there or realistic. But if you're on that stitch menu, it's going to show show up all of these lines joining the 4 designs, but it's not going to stitch. That's not going to stitch out. Those are not jump stitches. So another really useful tool when you're trying to place designs, because this is also on our machines, both in embroidery and in IQ. Under View, go to Grid. I'm going to click Show Grid. If you notice, it has a bunch of little little dots and a crosshair. So there's the center of your hoop. This is a very useful tool, not only on our machines, but in Palette to help with placement of patterns. I have mine set up for 0.25, simply because that makes these little dots line up with the hash marks on my ruler up here and on the sides. You can set this for every 1/2 inch, 0.5, enter. As you can see, then it just spaced them every 1/2 inch, both horizontally and vertically. If the dots you don't like placing with the dots, sometimes with axes, what that does, it actually makes it into grid paper. Maybe you want a 1-inch grid to place with, design with. There's a 1-inch grid. I find this very useful. Snap to grid means exactly that. If you have that activated, it will snap a pattern to one of the grid lines. For instance, I'll bring that one back in. Now, if I move it, I just let it go, it's automatically going to line up one of the corners to whichever corner it is closest to. If you see, as I move it around up here, it will, as I move it over, it keeps it aligned to the grid lines and to one of the corners. That can be very useful if you're placing a lot of different designs. Think of lettering, for instance, or maybe you're creating a border for a napkin or a quilt label or a handbag, whatever. This can be a very useful tool. I do find it better to have a larger grid for something like that. Let's do, not 22. There we go. And 1 is the largest that one will go. If you want to turn the snap off, it's all you got to do is uncheck that box. And now if I drag it, I can put it right in the center of one of those lines. It won't automatically line up to a line. Excuse me. And then if you just want to get rid of the cross marks altogether and have little dots to place with, or you don't want any of that on there, just make sure all of those are unchecked under grid and just get a blank piece of paper. I personally like this at about 1/4 inch when I'm doing. I'll make it smaller if I'm really working with something really delicate as far as that goes, or delicate's not the right word, very detailed is the word I was looking for. And this is the grid paper, just like graph paper. They still make graph. I know there is even fabric now that you can buy with the graph designs on it. And I really think that appeals to the science and math part of me. I love that. But anyway, that's how you can do the snap to grid and all that fun stuff. This is also where you can turn these rulers here off and on, right up here. So if I just uncheck the ruler mark, I have no rulers on the top and bottom. If I recheck it, they're back on there.